can join us for live talk with Gabi, and we are going to be talking about women and our cycle. So, Gabi, I would love you to say your name, full name, because you say it so nicely with your accent that only you can say it right.
No, you can too. But anyway, I am Gabriella Guglielminotti Trivel.
Yeah, very easy as you can tell. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
And I think we should really start by introducing how our cycle works really within female's body. So if you can tell us a little bit more.
Yes. Okay. What's the big thing about, let's call it menstruation, but normally, if you want to really be precise, menstruation is just the week when, as women, we bleed. So it doesn't really cover the whole month. And the secret on understanding why the whole month is important, we get into that in a minute specifically, is because to many of us, maybe we don't know, or definitely I didn't know. We're not familiar with the different changes of the energy that actually our bodies takes during the month. And this is something very basic. I'm saying basic because it involves our body. And we should be aware of our body.
We should understand our body.
But we don't. And the moment we do, everything changes. And how does everything change? Because of awareness. We are in a time when we speak about awareness more, fortunately. And this is an awareness that every single woman should have.
I think so, because it's important to understand your body. Once you understand your body, you can work with it better.
Yes, but you know, I'm trying to think what was the thing that before knowing that I would miss the most. And I suppose, having been a menstruating woman for over 25 years or so, before becoming aware of what's going on really deeply.
Yes.
I remember, because once you know, it's difficult to imagine how it was before. But yes, I remember kind of stumbling, is the best word for maybe to describe how I was going through my life, you know, through month after month, etc. And then what happened was, when I came across Alexandra Pope and I became aware of how our menstrual cycle runs us, then it's like I was given the secret, so I couldn't just pay attention anymore. I had to, and so I would remark and would realize, oh, but I'm in this season, so I feel such and such. Oh, it's true. That's why I feel more being with friends, or I feel more insular and I prefer to stay at home. And it's not just that, it's the fact that then you realize, okay, I have to go to work and I have maybe to have a meeting and I would rather be in bed. Yes, right, you still can do that, but because you're aware of what's going on with you deep inside, you will treat yourself as an ally, right? Rather than, oh, silly me, today I'm hopeless.
Yes.
How many of us think that?
Yeah,
many times.
Yes, throughout the whole month, of course, yes. Sometimes stronger than the other days, you know, but that's exactly what you're talking about, isn't it? How throughout the month.
Yes, we do change. I call them season because inner season, to be precise, to distinguish them from the season that we all know, obviously, the seasonal season, the one that we go through. In obviously in latitude where we have 4 seasons, there are latitude where they have just 2, but it doesn't matter. With internet, even people that live in the tropics, they are aware you can have winter.
Yes.
even if they don't. So basically, if you think of the four seasons that we all experience sooner or later in our life,
which is the spring, summer,
yes,
autumn, winter.
yes, autumn, spring, summer, winter, and fall, yes, winter.
Yes.
So we tend to feel in a precise energy, meaning not every day, but we tend to be, for instance, in summer much more joyful because we have more sunlight, generally speaking. The warm climate helps us to feel our body, is more relaxed, so we tend to feel more social. Whereas in winter, it's not that we become like horrible monsters, but we feel more kind of staying indoors.
Sort of locking ourselves away
Exactly.
from
So it's
everything.
a more an inward journey during autumn and winter. It's just because the energy that is out there takes us to a place of being quiet or quieter than normal. So we still have parties in winter, of course we do.
Of course we do, yes.
But maybe it's an indoor party, as not a village fete, or festival. So we tend to maybe invite our own friends that we know. So you can see same opportunity, but played and lived through in a very different way.
So can you tell us on a journey? Okay.
Yes.
Because I believe that us understanding our bodies and how we operate, how we work, helps everyone around us to kind of accept us in a different light. Because the changes of the moods that we can be experiencing obviously, affect everybody else around us. This is how we kind of react to situations, to people, depending on which season we are in. Yeah. So can you tell us on a journey where it starts?
Let's start the journey.
Yes, let's.
So let's start from spring, simply because it's more kind of conducive to. So spring is basically the second week in the month for a woman. Is the first week that the woman experiences after the bleeding has stopped. Mm-hmm. So, like in spring, we have an energy which is very vital, very bubbly, very new, like the energy of a puppy,
It's coming alive, isn't it? Like flowers.
It's like, yes, in spring is the season for blooming. Yes. It's the blooming season, right? So we actually bloom. And by the way, this is the energy of normal spring, but our inner spring is really comparable to the pre-ovulatory phase in more physical terms. Mm-hmm. And as I was saying, it's the first week after the woman has stopped bleeding. So during this week, physically, our body is waking up. Yeah. So like as we are waking up, we need less sleep and we have more energy, and we are kind of remembering all the lovely things that interest us, so maybe old projects that were put aside because we were tired, we don't have maybe the energy anymore to carry them on. We remember them, and so we have this renewed impulse to take them back on. Yes, and also we tend to kind of wake up to the world, so we find the external world interesting again. So again, if we have to network, or
it's a good time to network.
It's a good time
because the energy flows out.
And a warning though, because we have so much energy, it's important to be aware of this. Why? Because if we just go with the flow without any awareness whatsoever, what happens is we burn out. So the feeling this surge is fantastic, but the awareness of it happening is also fantastic, because then it allows us to think, okay, I'm very vital at the moment, but I'm going to ratio my energy so that I can spread it for all the things I want to do. So this is the energy that is particular of our inner spring.
So are you saying that basically within our first week in the spring season, basically, we can be sort of using so much of our energy that we are sort of lacking of the energy throughout the other weeks that are going to follow?
Well, because I think it would be more clear at the end, but let's go with the journey step by step, and then we maybe generalize it so the overview becomes clearer.
Okay.
So this is the first week. Then from the energy galore of spring, we go into the second week, which is summer. So physically is like the ovulatory phase. So it's actually the week when our body ovulates. So if we have a physical encounter with the opposite sex, we might conceive a baby. Inside of us, we carry this energy of summer. So energy of summer is very warm. So I would say also because it's warm, in degrees becomes warm also socially and energetically.
Yes.
So we tend
So
in
we
summer
tend to be warm.
yes. We tend in summer to go on holiday, to meet new people, to have parties and to share our wealth, or to celebrate more. It's just all around this type of energy that involves us. It's like it's a tornado, type of energy. And as women in this season, obviously, because nature knows it well,
yes,
would like us to procreate.
Yes.
That's the whole plan, right? So obviously we have to be outgoing, otherwise it's a bit difficult, right? To have encounters that can take to the bedroom or whatever. So,
okay. So
jokes aside, it's important to know this because behind everything, there's the simple reason that nature wants to carry out, which is the procreation of the species,
Yeah.
So, do we have to procreate at all costs? No, of course not. But it's a good time for us to think of our projects. They can be any sorts of projects. This is the moment when we have the most energy, we are the most outgoing, and so it's very conducive to have lots of communication.
Okay.
And if we need to have a meeting or discussing, it will be a very successful one. Of course, it's not guaranteed.
Well, of course, it depends on other
being outgoing, it helps us. We are more open.
Yes. That is very interesting because if you start planning your life around it, it really can transform.
Yes.
Have you been using it?
Well, of course, as much as you can. You can plan in a savior way, savvy.
Yes.
But I want to discuss this at the end because the purpose here is freedom. It's not to go into have a rigid, scheme of things to follow, and so we are not actually freer than before. It's important just to understand and then to take advantage of our awareness to our advantage for what we want to do in life, of course. So, is it clear? The energy of summer is really sprinkling and bubbling and very energetic.
Okay.
So then we go into autumn, and our inner autumn is comparable to the premenstrual phase. It means that in this season, as we normally in autumn, we start realizing that winter is looming ahead.
It's like the leaves are falling down, the energy is kind
but even just in the last days of summer, I'm sure you realize that some days you just feel the chill in the air in the morning, and you have that feeling that, oh, the energy is changing. It's not summer anymore. And it is. I do that.
I do that too, yes. As soon as it happens, I'm like, oh, okay, winter's coming.
It's sad to leave summer, but hey. Yeah. So, going back to our autumn. So we start feeling this chill in the air. What does it mean? Physically, our body is actually start talking to us in such a way. Look, your energy is going down now, so it's a good idea to have less outgoing activities. It's a good idea to rest more, and also it's a good idea to look into your so-called larder, and go and check if you have all your supplies for winter. What it means in a more kind of social context is that instead of saying yes to everybody, we start saying no. Funny enough, if we are not aware, we start feeling, why do I say no? Why am I feeling more concerned about my stuff rather than other people's? Again, this is the importance of our menstrual awareness, because this season is so important for us as women. Why? Because it's in the inner autumn that we understand what is important to us. After the summer, where we are so outgoing, we are woman, so everything is yes, we can do it, yes I can, we can do it,
and autumn brings you down to earth to look
it's
after
the
yourself
truth
again.
moment, and in the moment where we stop a moment before answering and we think, actually no. And if you are not aware that this is okay, and is very okay actually, and it can be really productive too, we might feel, oh, I'm becoming antisocial, or I'm not that nice person anymore. Why? What's wrong with me? This is very typical. What's wrong with me? Woman, there's nothing wrong with you. Everything is right.
It's just how we feel, isn't it? But I find it that, it's easy to say yes to everybody when you feel you've got the energy to give.
Exactly.
But then at some point I've been noticing it on myself as well, as towards the end of the month, which obviously it's towards the end of the 4 seasons, I'm sort of feeling like I'm drifting away, I'm feeling like I don't want to say yes to anyone or anything. No. I just want to lock myself inside. And I think it's about trying to learn to manage your inner energy, so that you can find the right balance along the way throughout every single season, basically.
You said it perfectly, and this comes from awareness.
Yes, exactly. Because if you don't know, then you are constantly questioning, why am I feeling tired? Why that person annoyed me with a little simple thing? When it's not always them, but we always need to first look at ourselves.
Exactly.
So
is exactly the point. Why to have awareness? Because of that.
Yes.
So when we are in an autumn, instead of believing what the media says about us women, PMS, PMT, and all these acronyms. By the way, PMS stands for premenstrual syndrome, and PMT stands for premenstrual tension. Why do we get tense? Well, again, not necessarily it has to be a tension or a syndrome, meaning that the word in itself means something bad. It's simply that we get into an energy in our inner autumn that is more inwards, and so is more concerned about our project, our things, and what is important to us. So going back to our energy journey, because we have less energy, having less makes us very focused. It's like having a deadline. Make us very focused. And so that's why I would saying it's very productive week. It can be, and or in a season, because in this season, because we start seeing things differently, with a focus that is more inwards.
I think they're more careful, aren't we, about making decisions.
We know. It's like in autumn, in old times we started doing the harvest and collecting everything, filling our barns with the produce that is important to store away before winter.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's exactly the same concept. It means really to treasure what you have, and treasure is a good word because it makes us feel abundant.
Yes. Yes.
So if we treasure who we are, we really use carefully our energy, because it's less, again, we can't have a bullets in our pistol. Which one I'm going to use to shoot what I really want to shoot at, right? Not people. So, but joke aside, if we need to shoot people, figuratively speaking, why? Because if we follow everybody else's plan, goal, project, where is the time for our own?
For us, for ourselves,
right?
Yes.
So do you understand then why we have the syndrome or tension? Because we are not aware that it's time for us.
Yeah, and it's the journey that happens inside of our body as well.
Yes, because physically what happens is the lining of the endometrium, which is the lining of the womb, in case we haven't had that lucky encounter and we have conceived a new being, what happens is preparing to then be shed off in the following season, which is the inner winter.
Yes.
So it's almost like a preparation, is a phase in which our body is preparing to get rid of something it doesn't want anymore because it's not needed. Yes. So pay attention here. What is that we don't need anymore? That is, this season is the perfect season to start thinking, because we can shed it.
Yes, 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 yes.
So what can we cut off all our things, you know, clutter, so to speak, in all senses? Yeah. That is that thing that we don't need anymore, we can get rid of, for then being able, in the following season, our inner winter, to really go into an altered state of awareness, which is the menstruating week, the bleeding week, comparable to the winter. What we, you know, what do we do in winter?
So
we rest.
We sit by a fireplace, covered in a blanket, with a cup of tea.
Yes, or a hot chocolate.
Yes, exactly, and watch some nice family movie.
Yeah. So okay,
but I think talking about the autumn, it kind of makes sense because, you know, through spring and summer we are really booming with energy and everything, so we put so much on ourselves that, you know, there has to be time when it just suddenly all becomes too much.
Yeah.
And, you know, when the body will let us know that now is the time to really take it easy. Yeah. So
so let's just finish with winter, because then I want to go through the cycle and give you an overview, a general overview.
Perfect.
So in winter, how do we feel? As you say, Monica, is quite right. You know, if you have a fireplace, you want to sit in front of fireplace, and if you have a dog, you want to sit with the dog too. You just pet the dog. And what does it say to us? It's a time which becomes very intimate, and we can have this intimacy with ourselves if only we pay attention. Oh, I'm going to winter. It's my sacred time. Now I'm going to rest. Now, when we rest, it's like we go to sleep, right? And we go into dreaming state. We all dream all the time. We might remember our dreams in the morning or not, but that's not the point. We do dream. Yes. And what does it say? Well, the dreaming state is the state where our mind ties up things, right? So we explore the things that maybe have been left over from the day, and so we dream all these crazy things. Dreams are strange, right?
They
very
simple. They definitely are. Yes.
And I want to point out exactly, this is the energy of our winter. So it's very symbolic, it's oniric, which is a Latin word really that comes from the word for dream. So in the dreaming state, everything is possible, isn't it? And there is no sequence. Sometimes logical. I mean, there is a sequence which is different from the normal logic. So in this particular week, as our body physically is shedding the lining of our womb, so we perceive it as blood coming out of our vagina, is actually on an emotional, psychological level a week where we shed. So it means we get rid of stuff that is not more required. It's not required anymore. Now, in this state, if we lower down the volume and we spend less energy in doing things out in the outer world, we can do more things for our inner world. What does it mean? Well, our psyche, our mental state becomes very active. It's almost like the perfect time for our unconscious to become very good friend with our conscious mind, which means we have this conversation that in this week is happening more than normal. It can happen, of course, conscious and unconscious mind can be friends all the time, but especially in this week, this communication is eased.
I think we become quite sensitive to it.
So because it becomes eased, it's the perfect time to pay attention to what the messages that come through, even if we are not sleeping. Even in conscious state during the day, if we are not distracted too much with the outer activities,
to do things.
Yeah, yes. What it means that we can have a download, free download. Hey, women, free download.
I like that.
It's
I do like that.
free.
Yes.
Gratis. So what it means is that we might have insight about our present,
yes,
or things we are doing, maybe that might require some answers, or we could have insights about our past or things that trouble us, or it can be anything.
So it's kind of all coming out at that specific week,
yeah,
emotionally and from our unconscious mind.
It can. So if we are attentive,
yes,
it's there for us to be ripped off.
Okay.
So ripped off is not the right word, but to be taken, to be englobated in our normal life.
Yeah.
And it's a gift. Why is it a gift? Because to have answer to our question, big question, is
I think
not always something that we have.
Absolutely, but I think it sounds like if we become aware of it, then it becomes much easier in that specific week to listen to our inner voice.
Yes.
That is always right.
Basically, is the intuition is heightened, right? I like putting it in conscious and the conscious mind, they become very good friends, because it's what happens really. It's like we become liminal, or it means that our psyche become more permeable. There's another good word to express what happens. And so we are very sensitive, as you were saying. So everything that normally is all right can become very dangerous or even aggressive. We can perceive it as something really is violent, and it's normally not, but in that week it can kill us.
Absolutely. It's what I was saying about, you know, us understanding our seasons, our changes of energies. It helps us to understand why we pursue certain situations or, you know, certain interactions with people differently.
Yeah.
Why we are so overacting sometimes, you know, or why we can even get angry at someone that, you know, said a little thing. And I think it's really important for women to understand it, but also for men, because if men understand their woman, then the life becomes much easier, you know, because we are just human beings, really, as individuals, and we all need time for ourselves, whether we like it or not. So spending too much time, or all the time, 24/7 with people, whether it's family, friends, or anyone, it's just draining our energy all the time. And also it's psychological that we are sort of aware of other people and we consider more what other people think about us. But at the end of the day, everything comes down to me. The way I am here, you, the way you are here, you who are watching. It's all about you and how you understand yourselves.
We can't get rid of this thing.
No. It's the connection between the body, mind and spirit, you know, and that's what we need to operate with and learn about. Because then when we understand it, then we also understand others more, which comes with acceptance of each other.
And I like the idea of bringing men just in this season. No, not just in this season. What I mean in this precise moment of a conversation. Why? Because if you are in an intimate relationship, so you have a partner who is also partnering life, sexually, and everything else. This season is such a treasure because it's a very bonding season, meaning it's a moment then that can really unify us a lot. Why? Because we are very sensitive and we have this altered state of consciousness that do happen. Either we recognize them or not. It's simply that if we pay attention, we perceive them, otherwise they go unnoticed, but they're still there. So if you are in an intimate relationship, you know, and we have to make up because we have something going on that troubles us, it's possibly the time, because we are so open, if our partner is cycle aware, can help us. We can go together to a land of peace where we can take our armor off and we can have a good conversation, a good chat, meaning that chat that goes down deep.
It's open, isn't
Yeah.
it? It comes more from inside rather
It
than
comes from the
through
heart.
the brain, and yes, exactly.
But because the woman feels so vulnerable, the woman feels so...
We will open up more, won't we?
Yes, the thing is, we need to know our partner is going to meet us there in the middle, and so we can totally open up. At the same time, the other side knows this, so can help us.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like you wouldn't go down with lots of energies and chat and everything that you can imagine on a little duckling or little puppy or, you know, you think in these terms. It's like we become that little embryo that it needs being nurtured, it needs being looked after.
So we need special attention during that week.
Needs to be fed, important, practical
with
stuff.
love, right?
Yes, but also fed, meaning that our partner in that week can, if it's cycle aware, can can take care of, for instance, of cooking for us, for instance, because by doing that, us as women, because we are very open, it will feed us at a different level, of course physically, but it will feed us at a psychological and emotional. So you can imagine what we have in the normal society, always been like this for a long time, is this bad press about women menstruating and women being in the inner winter, not PMS, inner winter. And there is no understanding of what actually a woman is during those 2 weeks.
That helps a lot because, you know, by us sharing this knowledge, it will help many women to become aware.
Absolutely.
And they will try and pay more attention to the conversations they're having, what they're doing, how they're looking after their body, you know. And yes, how they spend their time, because obviously I can compare it to myself because I live with myself, I am me, and I can see now after our discussion, you know, I could notice my moods going up and down, up and down, up and down, and I always questioned it, sort of like there is certain time in a month when I feel just exhausted. I feel so productive and so positive and so like I can achieve anything, and then comes the time when I feel that's it, I can't do this anymore.
Exactly. So I would like now to have an overview because you really would put everything into play. So we've been through the 4th season and we kind of become aware of the different energies we go through. So first of all, well done all of us, because it's tiring, isn't it? Every week, more or less. We have this change of energy.
Yes, for women, yes, absolutely.
Gosh, it's not really that flowing all
Here
the
we go
time, you know?
again.
Yeah, exactly. So it's okay to flow, meaning to have these different energies, and it's actually normal. Nature designed us this way, so why do we want to go against the current? So forget about the bad press that is put out there. Just pay attention to yourself and see what happens for you, because just that what I say, it can make sense for you, but you have to experience it.
You have to pay attention
That's
to how
what
the body's talking
yes,
to you.
that's what you really then, you know, the tire hits the road, right? Meaning, it's the right way of saying it. Meaning, I would encourage you to track your cycle, meaning following through and see what happens to you really, because I might lie to you. So I am challenging you, try it out, see what
really
happens
feel.
for you.
Yeah.
But that's your homework. Now let me give you the overview, because this is very important. The overview is what makes everything makes sense. Yeah, exactly. So we go through this 4 seasons. Now, maybe you have not thought about this or not noticed that there are 2 seasons. They are very outgoing and energetic, and there are 2 seasons. They are more low key.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, as obvious, spring and summer are very outgoing season. They are very more energetic one. So we are in those 2 weeks. I'm talking about weeks because, generally speaking, we could, not choose, but we could have a cycle of 24, 28 days. So more or less like the moon. But it varies from woman to woman. So for some women it's longer, for some other women can be shorter. And besides, because our cycle, female cycle, is the most stress sensitive system we have in our body, you know, if we are going through troubled waters, we might have shorter cycle, we might have longer cycle. So it's okay. That's natural as well, by the way. There's nothing wrong with it. So we are talking in weeks just for conversation's sake here. But the first 2 weeks, the spring and the summer, are very masculine type of energy. It means we have more energy, so we are more outgoing. And of course, they are the 2 seasons that normally are very accepted by society. I mean, by the outer world. Why? Because a woman can be very productive. Is yes woman, says yes to everything, and so it's very social, and it's open to things, etc. So all okay.
Yes.
Then though we are not okay anymore.
Yes, for those 2 weeks.
Because there are 2 weeks
down the hill.
that are the autumn and winter, and autumn and winter are more inward energy. So pay attention. More inward energy, it means, is the complementary energy to the masculine energy, so it's the feminine. So being feminine, it means, nothing wrong with that, it's a more subtle energy, it's a more cooler.
Yes.
And it's cooler in also other senses. So it's more passive, it's more reflective, more nurturing, quieter type of energy. And because of this, we become no women, right? We're saying more no's. But this is very good if we look at it, even on the production side of things. Why? Because by saying no, we then focus on the things that are important. So that's why I was mentioning earlier, the winter, especially the autumn season or week, is the week when if you have trouble to sort out, that's the right week to do it. If you have accounts to do, that's the right week to do it. You need to clean your flat, that's the right week to do it.
To get rid of what's not needed.
Yes, it's very, very effective, very good week.
So is it like kind of yin and yang energy?
Yes, we can compare it if you want.
Warm and cool, and sort of feminine and masculine, because that sounds
if you want to compare to, it's quite a symbol, the symbol of the Tao, which is the white and black with the dot of the opposite color in it. So it means the union of the feminine and the masculine. So it means the union, the complementary union of the outward energy, more male, obviously, more active, and the feminine energy, which is quieter, more nurturing, is more sensitive, and is a different type of energy. But the two together can produce the whole.
Absolutely. Well, they are a whole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have been gifted by nature by this wonderful way of operating that if we are aware of it, how it happens, we can use it to our advantage.
Absolutely. And I think it's just life becomes much easier because, you know, especially if you live with somebody, if you're by yourself, you know, you can be in whatever mood you want to.
Yeah.
But if you want to really create sort of a nice, harmonious relationship or a family lifestyle, you know, anything, then it's important to understand it because, and also the other side to understand it, because if you feel that you need time and space for yourself, then the other person should give you that space.
Yeah,
you know, and you should also be able to communicate it that way, that you don't feel exactly. So I think knowing is
there is no reason for war.
Yeah, exactly.
But war happens because of lack of awareness. So if we are not aware, we are not claiming what is there for us. Also, the awareness makes everything easier because if a woman knows that the following week is going to be kind of more low-key type of week, it's not going to plan possibly
climbing mountains or
you know
the meetings you mentioned.
Yes, I want to go back to the meetings, but in a family life, for instance, you know, you might avoid to have the kids party because for you it might be too much, and you can wait at the end of the day. You know, okay, if it's your son's birthday, maybe you can make an exception, but at least you know that you're going to be that kind of energy, so maybe you look for more help.
Yes. Or plan it in the first 2 weeks, you know, and take it easy the third week, definitely the fourth week. You know, do the productive kind of side to it up front.
It's the result of awareness, so you know that it's very likely you're going to feel that way. And by the way, I have to warn you, our nature is very clever. When, as you were saying, when you are in summer, it's very difficult to imagine the way you are going to feel in winter. Why? Because it's like when you're hot, you just want to strip off the thing, you know?
You just want to run out there and do anything.
The idea of a winter coat or a woolly scarf, it makes you And it's exactly what happens for us every month, you know, because it is the way it is. And I've been tracking my cycle for a long, long time, and still I'm caught out so many times. And so I'm warning you, so you know, you will never, you will never get, even if you're aware, it catches you up, you know, it catches you out, and you think, oh yeah, why haven't I thought about it? Why? Because there is actually a purpose. Nature wants to follow this flow, because it actually is quite handy, to be honest. And
I think we learn. I think by, you know, making mistakes and by sometimes being too fast with speaking rather than thinking and listening to our inner voice, you know, I think that's how we develop, and that's how we grow. Because, you know, by, for example, making mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. Come on, we are human beings, okay? And if we are not aware of our energy, by making those mistakes, you learn from them. So you become wiser every single time you make one.
Yes, if you're aware.
So it's a good thing. There's no such a thing as a mistake.
Absolutely.
It's a test.
That's why I am convinced that nature knows best. Meaning that, what does it mean? Well, think about it. If every month you are going through this, which I was saying it can be tiring, right? You actually, if you are aware, you have a chance every month to experience yourself in 4 types of energy. So basically, you are not just one woman, you are actually 4 women.
Wow. Now that's a challenge, gentlemen. To actually accept it, right? And for women, well, how, ladies, are you going to cope with that?
Yes. So, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But actually, it's very handy to get to know yourself. And why not? Why not to really discover all these parts of you that nobody told you that they're there for you to be discovered? And again, like I was saying, I will come back to this thing. Like for instance, you might say, but I work, I can't just play my life according to my inner season because, work is work.
That is a challenge, yes.
So what can you do to kind of cope with normal life, so to speak, normal life? Well, okay, what you can do is, well, first of all, track your cycle and see if it's really what happens to you. First, that's the main thing. Don't believe it,
You need
test it.
Yes, exactly.
Right, okay, first. Second, within time, after cycle after cycle, we start maybe realize, yes, okay, obviously maybe I have to go to the office every day, but you will see that maybe in the autumn season, you might be, because you are going to have less energy, you organize yourself in a way that you can sleep a bit longer because you prepare stuff
So
maybe the day before or whatever.
Management.
Exactly. And then, for instance, you're going to bleed in more or less, you are going to know it's going to happen next week. So maybe you do the big shopping. So the following week, instead of having to go do the big shopping, you have already the stuff that you're going to eat, for instance, for that week. Of course, stuff that is not perishable, but and you will see you naturally you develop this kind of savviness, being clever, and especially if you are in a relationship, you simply can ask your partner to help you out. And for instance, you are in your menstruating week, you are very much under the duvet type of person, and you have a big boarding meeting at work. What do you do? Well, think about it. You are going to be very sensitive, you are going to be very emotional, absent-minded maybe. So if you have, for instance, a very important meeting, you are going to know that it's going to happen in that period. You will prepare it, all the papers or whatever, before. By the way, in your autumn, when you are very clear and sharp. By the time you go to the meeting, you are already feeling, but you prepare, you can cover yourself up, right? And because it's the moment of truth, I was saying, the winter, right? It's perfect for you, maybe, if you want to discover the real truth behind some people, or inside some people that they keep it hidden from you, whatever. Why? Because you become very psychic naturally that week. So it can be very handy, can't it?
The truth will come out.
So what I mean is, yes, maybe you might be less energetic, but you have other skills that are in your toolbox and you can use.
And you didn't know about it.
Exactly. So yes, in your summer it would have been better if that boarding meeting happened in summer, because you would have felt very outgoing. Yes, woman, remember? But maybe you wouldn't have asked the same question that you would ask in winter, because you're in winter.
That is very true. That is very, very true. Yeah. And I think that also comes with our mind playing a little bit according to our energy. Because, if you pay attention to it, the questions you ask could be different at different time. So
I was talking about freedom, right? Because I want you to become freer, not less.
That's the point. Yes,
that's the point.
Getting the awareness and the knowledge is to set you free, really.
So why are you freer? Well, because why? Instead of living in this unknown type of stumble and
going day by day
type of life, you see that actually I can predict certain things, and if I can, obviously in life there's a big unknown. There's always this question mark about many things, but we can't control them, so let's forget those. They happen anyway. But on our side, we live in this body, and if this body serves us in a certain way, we can use it to feel freer. Why? Because we go with the flow rather than against it.
And I think it's becoming really productive in your life.
Yeah, because
So
if you think about it, this idea of the everlasting growth, it's a con. I mean, in nature, look in nature, everything cycles, right? There are seasons.
In rotate.
Yeah, in winter there's snow. You can't have crops in winter.
Yeah.
Right? You plow the field and that's it.
Yes.
You have to wait for summer. And so if nature planned in this way, it's because possibly there's a bit of good, reason for that. So living this way is much more organic, it's much more natural and easier than having this life that apparently we are supposed to be the same every day.
Absolutely.
How boring.
Absolutely.
How boring.
No, there is much more to experience, isn't it?
Yeah, and so for men, you think you have one woman, you have four. With the price of one, you get four.
Well, that's a bargain, right?
A bargain.
4 for 1. That's nice. Yes, but as we can see, there is so much to learn about ourselves.
Yes.
And therefore about others. And I think by sharing this knowledge and this wisdom, to me that is a wisdom, to understand yourself really. We can help others to kind of become one. Because there is no need to judge anyone, there is no need to kind of push them to the side when, that is the time when someone might just need a hand, a hug or just a smile. And that can change their life.
Yes, and you mentioned earlier, I'm sure you did, about the fact women, we are so pivotal in society, right? Because a woman is a mother, is a lover, a wife, a spouse. Obviously, these days we go to work, and so we impact the life of our colleagues, people around us, etc. Whatever you do, anyway. And if she is raising children, they're the future generation. And so in a woman there can be so much wisdom and easiness when she is consciously flowing. So even if she's in winter, she can have a good word, helping her child or colleague or whoever, especially in that season, because she's more sensitive. Or maybe if she's in summer, she can be, because she's more energetic, she might have a solution, a practical solution, for instance.
It really helps us to become better mothers, better daughters, let's say, grandmothers, better wives, girlfriends, whatever, by understanding what is happening within our energy.
Yeah, and also if we accept it, then automatically our communication, our way of sharing our energy becomes natural. So instead of having this, I should say yes because but I can't, and so you say yes, and then you betray yourself, and then you can't keep your word, and then you're in a mess.
Living in regrets.
Yes, and you're in a mess.
Yes.
We are very good at that, right? No.
Accept it.
Just say no.
Yes. It's okay to say no.
And
if you feel like saying no, say no.
You can say it with a smile.
Yeah. No with a smile is a no. Yes. Oh, that's
And
nice.
by the way, it's much better, if you think about it, it's much better to have a no, knowing it's true, rather than have those yeses that you, even if you heard it, she said yes, but actually she meant no.
Yes, and we can pick up on it, can't we? There is only one truth, exactly. So I think we could wrap it up quite nicely, because for me especially, I've learned so much actually, because now I'm going to understand my cycle and my seasons, and I'm willing to give it a try and see how I can manage my energies and each week and how productive I can be, and where I really need to pull back and just sort of take it easy and look after myself rather than everybody else. So I have learned so much, and I hope you did too.
Keep in mind, we are not linear. Well, by the way, nobody is really. It's just this preconceived patriarchy idea, that we should be the same every day.
We should be. That
it doesn't work.
No, we are who we are, and that's the truth. We are who we are. So.
And I'm sure men cycle too. It's just that they don't bleed, so they can't really have a kind of. It's more difficult for them to track it, right?
For us, it's easy. It would be interesting if there is someone out there who knows about the men. Then it would be interesting to find out and share more.
Yes, I'm sure they have their own cycle.
Beneficial for you gentlemen.
But you can adopt our cycle, meaning that, especially if you're in a relationship, you have to adopt it anyway. But I don't want you to see it as an imposition. But what I want to say is, for a man who is in a relationship, automatically, if it's a real intimate relationship, you are tuned into your partner. So because you tune into your partner and you appreciate that, at the same time you will see, if you pay attention, that automatically you as well, you fall into those seasons more. It's natural. It's a natural thing.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about bad things. Your sexual life, yes, is affected by this too, obviously.
Of course.
But what I mean in much more simple terms, common life, practical. As a man in a relationship, obviously in a relationship, good one that you want, you will tune into your partner, and automatically you will have this plethora of season, this flow, natural flowing, that you will see that it feels organic, it feels natural, because we are designed this way.
Now it's very tricky actually talking about relationships. You've got 4 seasons, obviously. Now which one of those is the best one to actually look for the right partner? Because with the first 2 we are all flourishing and we are all out there, so we are most likely probably to just fall into it.
For women who are on the dating scene, very good question. Let me share this with you. If you're looking for a partner, pay attention in your spring and summer, because you will be very outgoing, you will date like mad. But then you might feel very sexual as well, because it's a natural thing. But then if you're aware that you're in those seasons, it can really be a good skill to have, because then you think, oh, hold your horses, right?
Yes.
Go slowly.
Take it easy.
Yes. And then, again, if you are on the dating scene, in the following 2 seasons, your energy is lower, so it means that you will see things that in the previous 2 seasons you haven't seen. So, will be very handy for you if you date somebody new. You will see it in a certain way in your spring, and then it comes autumn, and you think, actually, I don't think he's saying the truth about that thing. I don't think so. And you would ask further questions.
Yes. You pay more attention to how you really feel from the other side rather than from the utter kind of,
absolutely.
Yes. So I think everything takes time, right?
Yeah. So cycle a few times before coming to a conclusion.
Before making a decision.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Well, I know that you prepared some vision of a woman of 21st century, and I think it would be lovely to share it. So.
Yes, I would love doing that. Actually, I can explain. These things actually came to me through over a period of time. I haven't sat one day at the table and just wrote it down. It came through to me, and how to say, I believe we can change things for the better, and we are in a very changing times, interesting, and so I have this vision of the woman of 21st century, because it's this century, right? And I know, like all visions, you know, just one person having a dream doesn't count on anything, really.
As we say, together we can make a difference.
Yeah, and so that's why I want to read this to you, and just leave you with this, and just see how do you feel while I'm reading this, and then
what it leaves you with.
yeah, or I leave it with you. So I just want to share with you today my vision, which is the vision of the woman of the 21st century. So the woman of the 21st century is the woman of the next generation. She is beautifully strong. She acts according to her soul purpose. And because of that, she is irresistibly magnetic and engages in empowering relationships with men and women. She gives birth every day to her reality. She pays attention to her feelings, and her feelings guide her to create what she wants. She does it through relationships that help her to discover more about herself. Relationships are her tool in the playground of life. Her feelings are her strength. They complement her intellect. They are a precious source of inner guidance. She is clear about her vision and purpose. Therefore, she is a beautiful inspiration. How does she do all this? She is in contact with her womb. She is aware of her cycle. She acts following her energetic flow. She elegantly flows in the river of life, guided by herself, her center. This makes her a magnet, a beacon of inspiration rather than perspiration. Do you like the picture? Does it sound enticing? Does it make you feel good? I can smell the scent of this woman. Life for this woman tastes great. And I hope that life for you will improve, because now you will be cycle 7.
Thank you. I don't think we need to add any more. That was just a beautiful way of finishing it. So if you have any comments, please comment below and we will come back to you, okay? Thank you so much, Gabi. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me for this chat.
Anytime, anytime. I think we should do it again, because there will be more women that will be interested in finding out more.
Yeah, maybe if you write the questions, we can do an answer session.
Yes, absolutely. So comment below, let us know what you think, and we hope that it helped you, okay? Thank you again.
Thank you, Monika. Thank you. Bye.